Matthew here from MiniWargaming.com, and it's time for another Sit and Talk. Now today's Monday, not Friday, but Friday I took the day off because I had a long, stressful week and I just needed the day off. So that's why I'm doing it today. In fact, you probably won't even see this till tomorrow anyways because it takes a long time to render and upload. So this will be a Tuesday. But then again, last week, so I forgot to, or the week before last, I forgot to post until the Tuesday anyways, so yay. So I'm just happy to be doing one of these. Let me just adjust the camera a bit so I can slouch. And still don't like to have a lot of head space. Just if you're doing camera work, most people when they take pictures or do videos, the head's like all the way down here, and they end up having all this head space. It's bad camera work. You want to fill the frame, see? Like that. Anyways, this is a Sit and Talk, and what a Sit and Talk is, if you're not familiar with the show, it's a very informal discussion with me, where you basically ask me questions you want to ask, leave comments you want to leave, and I answer them. It's about anything. Usually, most of the show ends up being about wargaming or things related to it, like maybe our business or scientific stuff or whatever. But it can stray into topics such as religion and politics, because it's just whatever. So if you are easily offended by those things, this is a fair warning to please not watch this show. There's plenty of other shows that we put out that you can go and enjoy. But I just don't want you to get offended because I'm very candid, very open about what I think about things, and I know people do tend to disagree with those things. So if you can hear things that you disagree with without getting super offended, and you can leave good comments about it that are even if you disagree, like people write stuff about what they disagree, but generally very, very well done, and I'm very happy that we have such a large group of people who can talk about these things in a way that we should be able to talk about them, that we respectfully disagree and we talk about why. Or we agree and we talk about why. Whatever it is. But don't worry, most of the discussion is usually about wargaming or things in that realm. So I printed off all the questions from the last Sit and Talk. Now this time there's only 12 pages. Now I probably still won't get through all 12 pages. We've kind of gotten to the point now, I think the Sit and Talk show has gained enough viewership, now that I'm doing it on a regular basis, that there's just too many questions that I can answer. And I'm not quite sure what the solution to that problem is. It's funny because I just not too long ago talked about how somebody left a comment saying, I wish like Games Workshop would do something like this, or bigger companies would do something like this where you can really get to know them. And I told them that it's a great idea, it really is, but you'd have to understand that it would be very different. Because they have such a large audience, there's no way they could answer everybody's questions, and so it would instantly lose a bit of that closeness that I've been able to have in the show. Like for example, earlier, if you were part of the Sit and Talk, basically if you left a comment, it most likely got answered because there wasn't enough of them to make it so I ran out of time. And so you got this kind of feeling of a conversation going back and forth and getting to know me and me getting to know you. And I hope that still continues to be the case most of the time. Now the only problem is now we got so many comments that I can't get to them all, and so some people are going to be like, oh, I didn't answer my comment, and maybe you repost it and I don't get to that one either because you keep posting it later, like you're not like the first one in there to post it, so you're off the first few pages, and so it kind of loses a little bit of that feeling. So I'm going to do my best to do what I can. Maybe what we need is some sort of ranking system where people can vote up comments. I know we have a thumbs up and thumbs down on comments right now anyway, but maybe I just need to improve that so that we can use that more effectively, so that everybody can kind of vote on, yes, I definitely want that question answered, and so they still feel like, or you still feel like I'm getting to things that you care about and you want to hear about. But we'll see. So any suggestions that you have, let me know. Include it as part of whatever question you're going to answer or ask anyways. But we only have 12 pages. I doubt I'll get through all of them, but that does mean I will get through hopefully a lot of them. So if I don't answer your question, feel free to repost it on the next one, because I don't go back to the older ones and read the questions. I only read. If you're watching this on YouTube, don't leave a comment on YouTube because I don't actually check those. I do check them on other videos, but just not on the Sit and Talks, just because of the way that I print these out. There will be a link in the video description below to go and leave the comment on it. And also, if you're going to leave a comment, make sure you watch the entire show, and that way you know if I've answered your question that you've posted before, or if I've answered your question by answering somebody else's question, which would have been similar to yours. That way we just reduce the repetitiveness as much as possible. So let's get into this. Ice Cool. Greetings from Norway. Ha, Ice Cool from Norway. Get it. I'm a Vault member and a fan of you and your crew. Awesome. So everybody seems to be saying that now. We've been our vault has been growing so much. It's awesome. I'm so excited for it. It's allowing us to really start to put more resources into making videos, and you should hopefully see some nice growth over the next couple of years because of that. My question is X-Wing miniature game dead? No more bat reps. I'm painting up my very first wargaming miniature. I went for... Oh, okay, so that's a separate question. Is the X-Game miniature game dead? Well, I wouldn't say because we're not making battle reports that the game is dead. Basically, it was never meant to be one of the games that we would cover regularly. See, the way that we approach it, we have very limited resources right now with how many people make videos. And so we have to be very careful in what we decide to do, because there's certain things we have to make sure we do every week. There's certain games we need to make sure we cover. Like 40K, for example, is a staple. We need to make sure it's covered regularly. And there's other games that we are now finally in place to do, like War Machine, for example, is one that I've always wanted to be able to say, yes, we cover War Machine on a weekly basis, and now we're going to be able to say that because Joel has been working hard. He's been making videos for the War Machine League, and I think he's already had like half a dozen games at least, and so those will all get uploaded and rendered and probably start being posted either this week or next week, which means in the next week or two we will start having War Machine content on a weekly basis. Infinity is another one I want to cover more. It's tough because right now I'm the only one that plays it, and I'm involved in so many different projects, like narrative campaigns and all of that. So I still feel like we're in our early infancy as mini wargaming in what we can cover. I feel very restricted as to what we can cover. And so games like Dreadball or Star Wars X-Wing, they're gonna like come and go. Like we'll play them for a while, then they'll kind of go. And that's just the way that they have to be for now, because we don't have the resources to cover all these games regularly. Having said all of that, Star Wars X-Wing miniature game I always thought was going to be a short-lived game. Because they have a limit to how many ships they can really get access to before they start to leave the mainstream stuff. Like I know once they go into all the side things, like all the books and the animated series and all those things that are not in the movies, I know that that'll open up a plethora of ships and things that they can do. But they have two major limitations. One, most people aren't into all of that, and this is a mainstream game. That's why they were able to get so much popularity. Like Star Wars, it's Star Wars. And it's not the new Star Wars, it's like the old Star Wars. So like everybody knows what that is and are really able to enjoy that. The second limitation that they have is the game is mainly focused on the fighters. I know that they're about to come out with a couple of the bigger ships, but I don't think it's really going to work as well as it worked with the fighters, because the fighters, it just worked. It felt like they were dogfighting and all that, but the ships are humongous compared to the fighters, and so the fact that they have these scaled down ones is just going to, like, I'm sure they'll be fun. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm looking forward to them. I'm probably going to buy a few and have some fun with that, but it kind of, the game does, I don't think it's going to scale very well. That's just the way I see it. Is it'll get bogged down if you start to make it too large scale. Like the large games that we play have half a dozen miniatures or half a dozen ships on each side, maybe going up a little beyond that. But if you go much further than that, then the game takes a really long time to play. It's not streamlined to be played like there's a squad of TIE fighters who all move together and therefore they can move them quicker. Like you think about like 40K, for example, as opposed to, let's say, War Machine. If you had 20 guys in a squad in 40K, it's like, okay, whatever, that doesn't add a lot of time to the game because they all kind of just jumbly move together, they all shoot together, and they all die really quickly together. Whereas like in War Machine, they each kind of do their own thing, even though they activate as a squad. They each make their own attack, they each have their own target, they each charge their own thing, which is cool. I don't think it's a bad thing. I'm just saying that those types of things don't scale very well, whereas games like 40K scale a lot better, because if you have 10 guys in a squad or 30 guys in a squad, 30 guys doesn't add that much time compared to going to War Machine from 10 to 30 or Star Wars X-Wing from 10 to 30. That triples the amount of time that it takes to really use that squad. And so that seems to be a big limitation of the game. But it's also the fact that it kind of honed in and did that was what made it so successful to begin with. So I think it will continue to work. I don't think they're going to lose their momentum totally and just kind of be like, okay, well, this fizzled out, we won't do this one anymore. I think they'll continue with their momentum. But they're going to have to continue to find, it'll become more like more of a niche game where you kind of get those like hardcore enthusiasts, Star Wars enthusiasts who get into it. So is it dead? No. Is it going to be as popular as it was before? I don't think so. I don't think it'll be able to maintain that. It was too cool, meaning like mainstream, to be able to continue being that way, because mainstream stuff has a hard time continuing unless you have more things that you can keep putting into it. and they are very limited on the mainstream stuff. Actually, they've pretty much hit it all up. That's really all. And Icicle says he went for vampire counts. Cool, that's a cool army. For Xmas, I want more fantasy bat reps from Mini Wargaming. Hee for Christmas. Well, I guess that gives us some time. And honestly, to be honest, I do want to do more fantasy. Not me personally, but I do. Hopefully, by the end of this year, we'll have somebody hired almost specifically for fantasy. So, because I think it's one of the games that deserves weekly coverage. To me, if I were to say which games deserve weekly coverage, well, 40K obviously, Fantasy, War Machine, Infinity. I would say we're probably going to start doing every other week coverage until we can really get full coverage on that. I think those games really deserve it, and then we can start to branch out and cover all the smaller games, and those can get more sporadic coverage. Like we'll do them for a little bit and then turn them off. Like the Dreadball Learners League, we're still doing that, but it's been spread out. And once it finishes, we probably won't be touching Dreadball again for a while. And same with other games like Star Wars or other ones that we just kind of want to dabble in. So we'll see. We'll see. Right now, there's so much more to explore with 40K, like the narrative campaigns. I'm talking a long time just about this one comment. How am I ever going to get to all comments if I just blather on like that? Clavis! I always wanted to get a Tyranids army for my second army for 40K. Good choice. They're fun. Now that the new codex is out, I'm not sure I will. I would like an army based around Sneaklook, Trigon, Ravner, etc. As a Tyranid player, do you think it's still possible to do a semi-competitive list of 1850 points? By semi-competitive, I mean a list build to play for almost any scenario and any confrontation without modification and still be fun to play. To simplify, I like play in a way to try to win, but I'm not looking for a broken list. I've talked about this before. I don't believe in competitive play with 40K. I think the game is just not balanced for that. I also really don't believe that you can, in any army, build a list that just works in any scenario against any army. I think that in order for the game to be fun, you should at least know what army you're playing against. Like, okay, well, I'm playing my Tyranids, and you're going to play your Tau, so let's build our armies knowing that. Maybe we don't know the scenario, but even then, when I go to do my beat map bat reps, I look at both of our armies and I say, okay, how many troops do you have? Okay, how many fast attack do you have? How many heavy support do you have? Okay, let's do this mission. Or how many kill points do you have? I try to find a mission where we're kind of balanced in the things that can grab objectives, or if we're totally off balance there, then maybe our kill points are similar, so then we'll do kill points. So I play it very differently than most people. I don't roll random missions. I might roll random deployment if we can't decide. But I like to just play for fun. So is it possible to do a semi-competitive list that you can have in any confrontation, in any scenario, and without modification still be fun to play? I think the answer to that is no. Definitely not. Thanks for your time. I may soon be a member, and as I keep watching more and more of your content over the last few weeks. I look forward to that. Keep up the good job. As a young company owner myself, I know what kind of implication and devotion that kind of project gets you into, and I like the honesty and transparency. Thank you. I think transparency, a lot of companies lack that. Just for those who don't know that term, besides being transparent, transparency in a business is where you kind of just tell people why you're doing stuff for real. You don't try to hide. Like, here's a free DVD. It's free. Honest. I won't tell you anything else. And then you go to the page, it's like, oh, but I got to sign up for the Vault membership. That's not transparent. Instead, I say, here's a free DVD. You'll have to sign up for the Vault, and that's why we're giving you the free DVD, because we want you to try out the Vault, and it was a bribe. We're really trying to get you into it. See, that's being transparent. People know the intent, and actually works a lot better, I find. You might get higher sales rates with the non-transparent actions, but you end up with more disgruntled customers and a higher cancellation rate and refund rates, and it just makes more of a mess. Mindfus1 says, new Godzilla movie comes out in May. I actually pictured that like being said with like subtitles. It was a person like, new Godzilla movie comes out in May. I don't know why that was. Are you excited? I've never really been a big Godzilla fan. I probably will end up seeing it because I was surprised at how much I enjoyed, what was that other movie that came out not too long ago?
Pacific Rim.
Pacific Rim, yes. That movie was surprisingly fun to watch. I watched an Honest Trailer. Honest Trailer is Cinema Sins. It's a YouTube channel. They do honest trailers where they basically, they put parts of the movie together and then they have this guy do like a trailer, but it's honest, like it's what the movie really is. And he said, prepare for the stupidest, or the dumbest, what was it? The best dumb movie you've ever seen, or maybe the dumbest best movie you've ever seen, or I don't know what it was, but he was basically saying it's like this movie where you're just like, this is ridiculously dumb, but I love it. And that's what. So I enjoyed Pacific Rim, and it's basically a Godzilla kind of thing. All right. So, are you a fan of any big monster movies? Godzilla, Cloverfield, King Kong, Reign of Fire, Tremors, etc. I saw the Godzilla that came out not too long ago. Not like when I say not too long ago, I mean like 15 years ago, maybe it was, as opposed to like the original Godzillas. And it was all right.
That one doesn't count.
Justin says it doesn't count. Justin is a huge, like that kind of stuff. He loves Godzilla movies and all that things. All the I don't know what you would classify them as, but classic stuff. I don't know, just classic. But that kind of culture, he loves that kind of stuff. Cloverfield, I actually enjoyed. I watched that. It was, I wouldn't rank it as a top movie that I've seen. King Kong, I thought was dumb. Reign of Fire, that was the one with the dragons, right? With Christian Bale. That was okay. It kind of got ridiculous by the end. Like it felt like cool, post-apocalyptic, and realistic at first, but then like, yeah, and then it kind of got dumb. Tremors, I only saw parts of that, but it was kind of dumb. But that's an older one, anyways. So I would say no, I'm not typically a fan of big monster movies, but I can still enjoy some stuff like that. Just got the Vault membership. Awesome. Now I'm getting nothing done in life because all the quick tips and bat reps to watch. Even the older edition 40K bat reps are great, and your prices are fantastic. Thanks for being awesome. Thank you for being awesome, because now you officially have the seal of awesomeness by being a Vault member. Colonel Craig, so now that you have the kill team rules, are you gonna start doing some kill team bat reps? Battle reports. I don't know if we're gonna do them regularly. I know Dave likes to do them. And so what happens is usually when people come in for battle reports, we try to do 2. So we do 1, and then we look at how much time we have left, and we kind of scale it that way. So I know that he's done some. In fact, you'll see some of them where he's done like a full-on battle report, and then they only have a couple hours. So then he does a kill team. So I think he will see more kill team battle reports because of that. I love the line you gave in the review of the Electronic NID Codex. LOL, maybe the other Codex Army Builder section in other Codex are not filled with so many bugs. LOL. Did I do that on purpose? That was very clever. Monkey Magic. Hey Matt, new Vault member from Korea here. Awesome. I've been watching the content on your site for several weeks, but decided to spring for membership when I saw all the effort you are making to develop new and creative content, like the recent Fate of Fayoum battle reports and the Dreadball games with your commentating. Thank you very much. I've actually had a lot of comments about the Fate of Fayoum narrative campaign where people have become Vault members. We've actually seen a spike every time we put out another episode of the Fate of Fayoum. We see a spike in Vault membership, so that tells me more than anything anybody can say. We try to listen to comments and stuff, but comments are usually a loud minority, either complaining about something or praising something, and it's easy to get caught up in either of those. It's like, oh, we've heard these 5 people or these 10 people or even these 50 people really loudly say they like this or really dislike this, and you sometimes make poor judgment calls because you listen to that small group of people who are vocal. And sometimes they're right. Like you have to sometimes get this gut feeling as just kind of reading a lot of comments and say, okay, what do I feel overall is what they're saying. But it's really hard to make a good judgment call on something that's so subjective. But what is not subjective is looking at the plain, hard statistics that say, hey, look, you posted this video and there was a spike in Vault memberships that day. Look, you posted the same type of video next week and there was a spike of Vault memberships. Huh. I guess people really like this, and it'll convince them to become Vault members. I've seen that with more than one thing, not just the Fate of Fayoum campaign, but other things that we posted as well. So that tells us really what it is that people want. Now I know in certain things like War Machine and Infinity, you're not going to get the spikes because there's not as big an audience, so we have to take that into account as well. I've also watched many of the older Vault videos and I'm impressed at how much your battle reports have improved. Thanks, I guess. I'm sure you've read the recent positive comments in your latest bat reps, so hope to see a lot more of the same. Yeah. My annual bronze membership payment just cleared. Yoo-hoo! So I'll be here for at least a year, and hopefully much longer. Keep up the great work. Well, thank you very much for joining. It is a tremendous support, and you guys are what makes us, or what allow us to do this. General Cross, hey Matt, I remember you saying in a previous sit and talk that you felt a little uncomfortable about using demons in 40K because of your religious background. A perfectly good reason in my view. I'm just curious whether Dave shares his sentiment. Would explain his expansive Chaos Army, but how he doesn't want to add any demons to it. I think he does agree with it because we've had this discussion before about Chaos stuff. Like when you read stuff in the Chaos Codex, it's like all right, that's a little too much, and so. So I know that he kind of shies away. I don't know if he doesn't have Chaos Demons in his army because of that. For me, it's more their fluff. Like if I'm playing a game and there's the Chaos Demons on it, I don't care about that. That doesn't bother me. It's more when you read their fluff and like the Slaanesh stuff and all that. It gets a little kind of grotesque and all that and those things. So yeah, it's just just like to just stay away from that. And so it's interesting. The whole chaos, the warp thing in 40K is fascinating. I think it's a really neat idea. A concept that I can actually say it seems to be kind of unique. I know that's not 100%, nothing's 100% unique, but just having all of that, like just the whole fluff and lore of 40K is interesting. And I've grown to really like a lot of parts of it. But yeah, they do take it a little too far, in my opinion, in some of the things. Hat Matter. Hey Matt, I love Mini Wargaming, all your content. Thank you. Vault membership is most certainly worth the yearly fee. Thank you very much. I just had a question about a painting you had on the wall in the room you play your bat reps on. It's the painting of the USS Daedalus from Stargate Atlantis. Or maybe the Odyssey from Stargate 1, I can't tell. And I am just wondering why that is there. I just find it interesting that you guys have a Stargate picture on the wall across from the portrait of Sanguinius. Thanks Matt, and cannot wait to see the rest of Fate of Fayum. Besides the fact that I'm actually a Stargate fan, that's not even why it's up there. I basically, when we renovated the studio, I knew I wanted a bunch of kind of sci-fi fantasy pictures on the wall, so I went on DeviantArt, went into their store, went into the category of sci-fi and fantasy, and found cool pictures. Honestly, I didn't even realize it was a Stargate one until I had purchased it and looked at it afterwards. I was just looking for cool ships and cool scenery, just cool colors, just to kind of decorate the walls. So that's really why. But I do like Stargate. I actually have the Stargate Atlantis series and Stargate 1. Season 1, is very cheesy with MacGyver in there and everything, but Stargate Atlantis is really cheesy too. But yeah. Badgerfish. Hi Matt, just watching the last Sit and Talk, and something occurred to me. Not only as incentive for people to come play battle reports with you, but also as a membership incentive. Giving people who play bat reps with you a year's worth of membership to the Vault. And with this came a second idea, inviting people to join the Vault to earn more months in your membership if they do. I'd like to hear your thoughts on either way. Oh, okay, I see. You're suggesting that as an incentive for people to come in and play, we give Vault memberships. I've actually thought of that before. And in some cases we've actually done it. Where certain people have just come in and helped out so much that it's like, here, just have a Vault membership. In some cases we've actually even just given a lifetime because they've helped so much. So people who contribute a lot, we do like to give back in those ways. A lot of people like to come in just because it's kind of like, for lack of a better word, it's like a pilgrimage. And this is not trying to like put us on some sort of pedestal. It's more just like, hey, we've been watching this guy's videos for so long. We love playing the game. It would be fun to be in one. And so it's like, let's make the effort to get out there. So I don't think the incentive of getting people to come out for Vault membership would actually increase the number of people that come out, and it might actually attract the wrong type of people, to be honest. Because I remember when we used to do Beatmap Bat Reps with prizes, that I'd get negative comments from viewers who are like, that you clearly tailored your list against the guy just so he wouldn't get his $50. And I was like, seriously? You think I'm going to do that? Like, well, whatever. Like, I'm not trying to get people not to get their prizes, but because there was something on the line, it's kind of like the leagues. We're finding that the leagues create a lot of variety in our battle reports, but they do have that kind of thing where it's like it's harder to because there's something on the line. It changes it. And I know you're not necessarily suggesting that we give them as a prize, that we more just give it as an incentive. Come out and play a battle report, we give you a month or something like that. But for the most part, I have found in the past that offering incentives in whatever form did not really add that many people. And the people that I noticed who came because of the incentives usually were the least fun to play against. It's just the thing I noticed, the pattern I noticed. And if you know me and the way I play, I definitely play to win. I play, heck, in the narrative campaign, I create these scenarios and try to make them balanced, and then I play to win. I really do. And so I always do that, even though I'm playing for fun as well. But I don't build a list necessarily to win. I don't set up the scenario to win. I try to set up things so that they're fun, and then then you play to win. So that's kind of what I think about that. Thermo, wow, you fellas have been busy lately, as has this Q&A. I haven't posted a question for a while purely because I'm getting to these videos 40 to 50 questions too late, and no, you just ain't going to get all those questions answered. First opportunity to be somewhere near the top for some time, going to try my best not to waste this opportunity. Lord of the Rings Strategy Battle Game channel is going well, gone from 50 to nearly 900 since November. Congratulations, that's really good. With daily battle reports, unboxings, tournament reviews. Oh, okay, so not necessarily daily battle reports, but daily videos. You're right, running a channel like this is tough. And hopefully looking at some creative ways to get at least paying for our time. It's going to be tough. Yeah, we'll see. Two of us run the channel, and we find that along with our work business, the channel probably takes up 2 and a bit full days worth of work spread out to keep it going. We experimented with an X-Wing themed week last week, and as we aimed to expand our wargaming audience, and it was interesting how different it needed to be filmed. Great game. What wargame would you recommend we try out for a themed week next? We're thinking of a Kickstarter to improve our recording and editing equipment. Any tips? Also, making the most of the slot. I really enjoy the way you talk about your faith. I've never been particularly religious, and I find the idea of oblivion, nothingness, and not existing is incredibly scary. So when I hear the thought process that actually how could all this not be due to something bigger that our minds can comprehend, it actually does give me comfort, and I start to understand the importance of faith a little more. Sorry for the deep finish. Take care, pal, and please check out the channel sometime. Going back to your question about what war game would I recommend, and what about a Kickstarter? Kickstarter is still new, so it's possible it could provide you with a source of revenue. Like I've seen, Watch It Played is a channel where a guy does board games, and he ran a Kickstarter. I don't know if it was his first one, but he ran a Kickstarter so season 2 of Watch It Played could be filmed, and he raised I think $30,000 or $40,000, which his goal was like 20 or 30, and he managed to do that. Now his audience is larger though. That's the problem. Is that with Kickstarters, unless you have something that looks fantastic, you're going to need an existing audience. Like there's people who just go on Kickstarter and look for cool things to fund. But if it's a YouTube channel, you're going to need to already, like, the stuff, I'm sure your stuff is good, but I'm talking like polished, high-level quality professionalism and something that really brings something unique to it, which is hard to do with a wargaming channel. And prove to somebody else that it's something that they would be interested in, especially since it's a niche market. So you need more of an audience. One thing that you can look at, that you can experiment with, is Patreon. I have a friend who runs, you may have heard of StarCrafts by Carbot Animations. He started a channel a year or 2 ago that is basically StarCraft parody stuff, and it's really taken off. He's got a lot of subscribers, lots of views on his videos. Blizzard even is working with him and getting him to do stuff for them. But anyway, he's using a service called Patreon, and what Patreon does is kind of like, it's along the lines of Kickstarter, but it's not. What you basically do is people sign up and say, yes, I want to fund your show, and so for every video or thing that you put up, I'll give you $1 or $5 or whatever. And it's like a Kickstarter in that people like sign up for different levels, and they might get certain perks. Now, for the most part, it's going to be hard to give regular perks, so you might be like, maybe we'll do some behind the scenes and give that to certain levels, or we'll put your name up somewhere. But it's Patreon, like Patreon, like do a Google search for that. I think it's patreon.com, but it might not be. It might be Patreon.something else. But the idea, and they can set a limit, like I'll give you $1 per video up to $10 per month. So if you all of a sudden put up 20 videos instead of 10 like you normally do, I won't all of a sudden get dinged and have to pay 20 bucks. So they can put a limit on it. But what it does is it kind of puts a value to each video that you make. And so if you can get just even like 100 people signed up for this, given between $1 to $5, then you're looking at making between $100 to $500 per video, and all of a sudden it's like, huh, yeah, if it takes me 5 hours to make a video, that's still, or heck, 10 hours to make a video, that's still between $10 and $50 an hour. Now that sounds like a huge amount, and it probably would be hard to get that much from just 900 subscribers, but it's something that might be able to supplement it. We're not going to bother experimenting with that because we have our Vault membership, so that's kind of the same thing. People are paying, but they also get a lot of extra stuff. So for us to use Patreon on top of Vault membership would kind of like, it wouldn't work. It wouldn't feel right. It wouldn't fit with our business model. But it might work for somebody like you. So check it out. Try it out like right away. Talk to your members and say, hey, we're looking for a way to be able to do this full time eventually, so we can make even more videos. You like our stuff. You say you do. So if you'd be willing to give us like $1 per video, Or maybe you sign up for like $1 per battle report, or like experiment with it and see what people do and how they react. I know with Jonathan, I think he's getting an extra $700 or $800 per video, and that really does it makes a big difference to supplement his income that he gets from YouTube. Because even with a channel the size of his, the YouTube revenue isn't enormous, because his videos are mostly short, and so the revenue just isn't there. So I would try that. Take a look at that and see what you think. Ewan Stockwell Duos 1177. No, Matt and Dave can never retire! Exclamation mark, 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 exclamation mark. I hate to say it, one day we'll retire. Or die. It's gonna happen that we're not gonna be able to make videos forever. One way or another. And then he continues, hey Matt, I heard you like to play the XCOM series. I loved playing the XCOM series, it was so much fun. I was just wondering the other day if you think this could be a cool skirmish game. Personally, I think it would be cool, but as someone said last battle report, you have a good head on your body. So what do you think? Viable or not viable? I think anything could make a good skirmish game. The market is small though, so you're not typically going to see somebody like in a video game market want to do something smaller. It'll usually go the other way around. Like 40K will come out and then they license out their IP to make video games so they can expand their market. So there's two questions really. Would it make a good one, and would it be successful? I think yes, it would be a good one, because why not? You can have all these cool customizations of your characters and even have a really cool campaign system. Would it be successful? Probably not, because it would just get lost amongst all the other ones that are currently being developed. There's not a lot of room in this market for a lot of really big games, and we've already got a few of them, and over time the market is expanding, and that's good, but it's still a niche market. It's a small market, a very small market compared to other markets, so that's where it's hard. Rotor, hi Matt, greetings from Denmark. Thanks for the content you produce, thank you. The amount and quality you've put out, especially in the new year, has, I think, the 40K League has... Oh, did something get cut off? Looks like something got cut off. Sorry, I don't know why, but it almost looks like the printer didn't print off the rest of it. So I'll continue your comment down here. I think the 40K League is a really good concept, and I was happy to see you continue with Season 2. A few comments / suggestions for the League. One, the League doesn't feel so leaguish at the moment. There's no scoreboard. The last season's final results were announced almost as an afterthought in a short video by Jay. Yeah, we actually forgot to do them. So, yeah. It could have been cool with more information about the rankings and such as the season went along. BatRep style. Like most others, I think they do live battle reports rather than the voiceovers. However, League BatReps sometimes become very focused on the dice rolls, and it can become difficult to watch 30 minutes of intense dice throwing, rarely seeing the faces of the players or anything else than fast-paced dice. Anyway, continue the good work. The leagues are a new thing. I do agree they do need some honing. And we're going to continue working on that to see what we can do. I think the main problem and the difficulty with the league games is that they're mostly played at Black Knight Games. And it's been a wonderful thing for opening up to new players, but it's not a studio. And so the lighting's not as good and the sound quality is not as good. And that can make a bigger difference than you realize. You might be thinking, oh, there's so many dice rolls. And there might be more dice rolls per minute than other battle reports. But it could also be that because the lighting and the sound isn't as good, that it's more distracting, whereas other ones are more crisp, and so they kind of flow more with the game. So it's a challenge that we're facing, and I'm hoping over the long run that we'll be able to figure this out. So for now, like we're working on improving them. Let me just put it that way. But I do agree with you. I do think they need improvement. I think all of our content needs improvement, the narrative stuff even. And I'm always constantly trying to figure out ways to do things better without increasing costs, of course. That's the real conundrum. Omakadan. Hey Matt, on my question from last week about Dark Eldar, I am sad that the evil space elves don't have a spot on your shelf. But your answer left me with another question to ask. Why do you feel the Dark Eldar are such a popular army to have? Do you believe that they are more unforgiving to play than most other armies, or that the fluff around them might not be what the other armies have? Being that they came about by people just by painting their Eldar black and calling themselves Dark Eldar, and poof, GW gave them a backstory. Keep up the great work. I don't know what it is, because they're definitely not a hard army to play. In fact, they're one of the stronger ones. They seem to have more than one build that is super powerful. At least, no, overall. Especially when you start to ally them with Eldar and really gain access to their Farseers and everything. The whole allied thing really makes them good. Now, it could just be my experience because I play Tyranids, and they're particularly lethal against Tyranids. But I do agree that I think that their fluff just sucks. That's what it comes down to. I know for me it's grotesque, but I think it just sucks. It's not interesting. Even the chaos, as much as I'm like they go too far in certain areas, I think it's cool fluff. Like it's really neat. It's a cool concept. But the Dark Eldar, yeah, it's just that. It's like we have the Eldar who have this really cool lore and this cool history and this neat culture. And then you got like their pirate cousins who go around taking slaves and doing nasty things to them. And that's really it. There's not much more to them than that. Like I'm sure there is, but that's not how they're personified. And so they're just kind of meh. Just take the Eldar stuff and add spiky bits to it. I know Space Marines and Chaos, that's just all the Chaos are to the Space Marines, but there's just so much more to it than that. So I think because they're almost a subspecies of one of the Xenos species, that it's kind of like if they came out with the Gene Stealer cult as a separate army, it wouldn't be nearly as popular because, well, it's like a sub-army of the Tyranids. The Dark Eldar almost need to be part of the Eldar Codex, just I don't know. I'm not sure what the way to correct it is. Or even if it needs correcting. It's okay if some of the armies are less popular than others. That's fine. If every army was exactly the same as all the rest, then that would tell you that there's not much differentiation between them. So it's going to attract different players. So yeah, that's my concept is why they're not so popular. And also, their models just aren't that cool. Like they are, but they're not. They're more not than they are. Soul Armor. Hey Matt, glad to be out of the winter vortex. We just had a snowstorm 2 days ago, so I hardly think we're out of it yet. And it's pretty cold today, but it should soon be over. And I guess I will be very glad to have it over. Quick couple of questions. I know there are being tons of releases going on with GW right now. Will we be seeing any Imperial Knights in the near future? Well, you will definitely see one in the very near future because Cold Painting Table just painted one up for us to give away in a contest. So you'll see that. Now, will you see it in the battle report? I do want one for the Mini Wargaming Space Marine chapter, but I wouldn't say near future, unless near future is the next few months. Excuse me, which in my view is near future. But if near future you mean like the next couple of weeks, definitely not. But next few months, I'd say so. Also, when is the next time we are going to see the Mini Wargaming Space Marine chapter? I'll reveal a bit of my plans. None of this is set in stone, but the next narrative campaign that I'll be creating should involve our Mini Wargaming Space Marine chapter. That's my plan. Now, it's going to be a little difficult because I'm still learning Space Marines, and I just ordered like another 4,000 points of it, so they have to get painted up and stuff. And I still want to do a campaign, like I want to continue doing a campaign right after this one is done, so I might have to do something, maybe a smaller one in the interim. But I do plan on doing a campaign with them. So that's all I'll say right now because I'm still working out the details. I love the idea. Then you got beat really, really, really bad, and then we never saw them again. I will admit that game was like, I don't want to play Space Marines. But at the same time, I had a really crappy vanilla list. And I was playing against Necrons, which are a good list. Or just a good army overall. But no, my motivation basically shifted when the new Tyranids came out, and then I got excited for them and I got working on them. So we are, like I said, I just ordered a ton more of them, and I will be getting back into them. Please bring them out again, even if it means you get beat really, really bad again. Mutinized, or Mutant Z. Hey guys, love your bat reps on their videos. I was wondering what happened to Owen. It seems like it has. See, that's another one that got cut off. What's going on? But to answer your question, Owen no longer works here because he got another job. He was not fired. We did not leave on bad terms. He was working part-time for us, and he needed full-time hours, which we couldn't give him at the time. And so he found another job that could offer him full-time hours, and then we took that. So that's what happened. That is really nothing crazier than just that. We're sad to see him go, but we also understand that that happens. People change jobs. Chris wasn't. Oh, Chris. Anyway, Jakey Bakey Lemon Cakey. I love that username. That's great. Hi Matt. I love the BMAP Bat Reps and would certainly want to come and face you if I didn't live so far away. Sunny England. I have been. Wait, you can still come and face me. I just realized it's a little harder. I have been reading the new Tyranid Codex, and that got me thinking. Could you maybe play out a battle like blank? What the heck happened to the comments? That's like the third one. What's going on here? Any Wargaming. Oh, I'm just checking why these printed out so weird. Did somebody do something weird and that way it printed out weird? Jakey Bakey, where are you? Jakey Bakey, Lemon Cakey, where are you? Jakey Bakey, there we are. Play out a battle, yeah, see, like, it's right there. Like Macragge, but in space, also using Battlefleet. It'd be so cool to play out battles like Cold Steel Bridge and Defense of the Polar Fortress, maybe even Space Hulk in the Final Stand of the Last Company. Those are cool ideas. I have something against trying to play out historical stuff because it never works out like it did in history. And I know that sometimes it's fun to do that. But that's kind of what got me bored of Lord of the Rings after a while, is that it's like, how do I play this using Aragorn? But look, Aragorn died. Oh, that's weird. Aragorn's not supposed to be dead. So it just takes away. I'd rather like take the existing armies and make new campaigns and new stories. So that's kind of the way I look at it. Captain Obvious, Matt, you should do a disclaimer like Dave's. Heck, Dave could do it for you, so you can play that to explain religion, and you can get right into the sit and talk without wasting more time. But I like to. His disclaimer comes up really fast, and not everybody reads it, so I like to make sure everybody hears it. Blank username. Senator, what the heck is going on? Why is this printing out so weird? Is the ink running out? So, right here. Senator. Matt, is anyone from Mini Wargaming going to Adepticon? No. It would be nice to meet any of your crew. I will be attending the Infinity Tournament. Sorry, we're not. Marshall Aid. Matt, are you guys going to Adepticon? No. I think I remember you saying you were. We were planning on going, but then things changed. So we're not. I'd argue that the game 40k is balanced at that level because every list is cheese, but yes, you can only use the best codexes, yeah. It's not balanced when everything's overpowered. Why are these things becoming blank? What's going on with the printer? I'm gonna have to have this open so I can see who it is. Reiny. Hi Matt, really enjoying watching your content. I wonder when you will do the next Infinity Battle Report. It has been a while since the last one. I know, at least I guess, a lot of your subscribers play in 40k, but I'd really love to see more other games like Infinity, X-Wing, War Machine. Yeah, I just kind of talked about that. You'll see more Infinity stuff, probably even this week. Wilder Fual. Hello FYI, will be a Vault member next month. I have a lot of unpainted models, 526, and I know that you are not into painting. I feel overwhelmed. I can't get anything done. I have to start to watch Way of the Brush to get me painting once a week. Any tips or ways to get stuff done? I know you pay people now, but did you always? Any help will be appreciated. Didn't always. I've painted a lot of miniatures myself. It's my first suggestion is to not have 526 miniatures that you need to have painted. I know that you've already kind of gotten to that point, so it's hard. Like when I would collect stuff, I'd make sure to collect it in, like, not collect too much at once because then it'd be overwhelming. Whereas if you just have like, oh, there's just 40 or 50 to paint, I can do that. And then you finish those, and as you're finishing those, you buy your next batch. And that way, because you always need kind of everything in different stages, like, okay, well, this is drying, I'll assemble these miniatures, that kind of thing. So yeah, but if you do have that many, then you have to just kind of take them bite size. Maybe like put aside a lot of those, and just be like, I'm just going to paint these. But hey, you're kind of asking the wrong person about motivations to paint because I don't like the painting. But that's the tips I could give. Another blank one, so I got to look over here. Zipding. Hey Matt, I would like to thank you and the rest of Mini Wargaming for bringing me back into the Warhammer hobby. Do you think if you're able to get a studio in Hamilton or Toronto, if the store will open again, or is the store gone for good? Oh, I think the store is gone for good. It's impossible to say that for sure. Maybe we'll see an opportunity someday and we'll open it again. However, like I have said, I do see an opportunity for opening studios elsewhere, just to gain access to new employees and more players, because we will eventually have too many employees for this area. Unless the employees are plain employees, in which case, of course, then you don't have to worry as much about players coming in. JG Ponage, what's your opinion on the new Knight Titan Codex? Haven't actually read it. What do you think about Escalation Strength D in all likelihood getting rolled into 7th edition? I think that it ruins the game just as much as Flyers do. In other words, if you're playing competitively, I'm sorry, the game now sucks horribly. But if you're playing for fun and your friends will agree to do things like when flyers came out, whenever we did a battle report, I said to my opponent, do you have flyers? I actually had one person being like, why? I don't have to tell you. And I'm like, I need you to tell me because I can bring 6 flyers with my Necron list and they will blast the bejeebies out of your army. But if I know you have flyers, then I can bring 6. But if you don't have flyers, I won't bring any. And he's like, oh, okay, fair enough. Yeah, I'm bringing 1 flyer. I'm like, okay, then I'll bring 1. Like, we would agree. It would be like this gentleman's agreement that you would tell me how many flying monsters, creatures, or flyers you'd have so that we could have a relatively well-balanced game. Because there's nothing more boring than watching 3 flyers chase around a ground army that just can't do anything against them. And so the escalation and the D-weapons and the Titans are all, it's the same thing. You just agree with what you will be doing, and if your opponent's not a jerk face, then he'll agree as well, and you'll have fun. But if you try to play it competitively, then you're screwed, and it's not going to be fun unless you're the guy walking around with the D-weapons in the unbalanced army. 40k is fun if you stop playing it competitively. Start playing it campaigns, start playing it more just for fun and fluff. Be like, hey, I've always wanted to try bringing this really crappy list. Can you build a crappy list too? And we'll see what happens. We'll have some fun. Captain Obvious. Matt, you said ages ago that you were making sculptures of certain people, mini wargaming crew for the Space Marine Army. What's the progress on that? Yeah, the faces were actually already made. So we handed it over to a company to do it, and I had to check with Dave, because he's the one that was actually handling that, so I don't know. Jeppy. Hey Matt, your Tyranid Necron campaign made me want to start my own campaign in my club. The only thing I would like to do different than yours is that I would like to have more different armies playing in it. Yeah, if you're going to do it in a club with a few people, that makes sense. I do like your first ambush scenario that I would like to do here, but I don't think I would tell the players that they will be ambushed. Just let them make a reinforcement army that would automatically come in turn 3 of a siege. But oh no, it got ambushed before it gets there. Too bad. Keep up with the good work and happy wargaming. I find in order to do campaigns really well, you need 2 things. You need a really good games master, the person who's going to be able to make the scenarios and try to balance them as much as possible. But more importantly, you need players who will accept whatever the crap happens. And Steve is that player. He's awesome that way. I come to him and say, this is what's going to happen to you. And he's like, sweet. Oh, I'm outnumbered. Great. This will be fun. Oh, you're swarming me like crazy. That's going to look so cool. And he wins or he loses, and he has fun either way. I've been a GM for a lot of different role-playing groups, and the players who just kind of let you do what you want to do and don't complain about it, even if it means they die, are the best players to play with. Those who are like, I can't believe, that's not fair, that's not fair you're doing now, you kill my character, I worked so hard on, blah, 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 blah. It's like, get out! You're no fun to play with. So you have to have those 2 things together, which is why I think it's working so well with me and Steve, because I've got the experience of games mastering, and he's just so laid back when it comes to this stuff that he has fun. But he's like, I brought this army, it's not that strong, but it totally makes sense fluff-wise. Some people have been pointing out like tactical errors that he's been making, but he's been thinking, what would Overlord Sobek do? Oh, he would do this because he's stupid and doesn't know what he's up against. And so it's a tactical mistake, and it works because it's a campaign and it's fun and it's meant to create a story, and we're both like working together to create a story. I create the framework, he fills it in with his army, we play, and we just have fun, and then we kind of take that and we continue the story. So if you can do that, that's the most fun. Otherwise, you got to try to create something balanced, and that takes a lot of the fun out of it, because like I said, 40k is not meant to be played competitively. And that's when people are looking for balance. So if you can get a player base who will agree to that, who will have fun with that, then you'll have a really successful and a lot of fun with this campaign. Another name that got crossed up for some reason. Writer Monkey. Just a quick question. Is there any chance of more X-Men content? Okay, talked about that. Wave one. Alright. Sorry, I'm going to skip that. I already covered it. D-Topping. Been a Vault member for a while now, about 2 years. Awesome. Got away from being a Pain member for a bit during the Dark Potential days, but I am back. Necron campaign was the bait. We are now creating our own scenarios and campaigns, and we joined the epic worldwide campaigns. Sit and Talk, still my favorite though. The wife enjoys the religious topics best, LOL. Huh, that's kind of funny. Hopefully we'll be riding to Niagara this summer so we can pop in for a visit. Maybe not get a game in. Hard to tote 2 armies on a motorcycle. Well, if you play any of the armies that we play, you can always borrow our miniatures too. Dark Paladin, hey Matt, 40k question for you. Do you and the others at Mini Wargaming believe that most 40k codexes are balanced? I already talked about this, so I think you already know my answer. No! Nothing is balanced in 40k. Nothing is balanced in 40k. Nothing is balanced in 40k. And the moment we can stop trying to treat it like it is the moment we can have more fun with it. Or I know, and it's funny that I say that because I know when the Tyranid Codex came out, I was like bummed. I'm like, oh, this sucks. But like, there's a difference between not having things balanced and then just like killing a codex and being like, okay, now it's crappy. Now it turns out that I was wrong. The Tyranid Codex is a lot more fun than I thought. So it's no fun playing against somebody who's just super overpowered. And so you tend to kind of avoid those people and those armies. It's just the way it comes down to it. Or some that are more powerful. Yes, I myself played Dark Angels, and I believe we're on the okay side of the fence. Yeah, Dark Angels are on the good side of the fence, I would say. Dark Paladin continues, hey Matt, I recently got a year-long silver membership for the Vault. Awesome. You are awesome. Love the Vault. Have you ever thought of doing a review of gaming dice? No. Why? Is there differences? They're dice, right? See, what I do is me and my opponent use the same dice. And that way, no matter how good or crappy the dice are, we're both using them. So there's really no issues. Shazoo, nice haircut. Thank you. It was never cut this short before, and I kind of like it because that means it'll take longer before I have to go back and get another haircut because my hair grows really fast. Not complaining. Rather have this than be bald. Although, if I was totally bald, that'd be kind of cool too. Although maybe not with my head and glasses. Unless I could. If I could grow a really good goatee, then being bald would be all right. Because that's just what you do. When you're bald, you grow a goatee. That way, you don't look like a bald person. You look like you could beat somebody up. But anyways, it's true. There's a really good video on it. It was, I can't remember who put it out on YouTube, but like search for it. They're like, it's like, you know, the hair club for men thing, but their video was, our hair club is shave your head and grow a goatee. Because people have like, they try to do the comb overs of the balding. And I was like, embrace it. Like if you're going bald, embrace it. Just shave.
The Eisenberg.
The Eisenberg, is that the Eisenberg is?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm serious. Like, no, I'm not making fun of bald people. Hopefully, I guess it might sound like I am, but I mean, like, I'm serious. Like when I see, it's funny when I see somebody who shaves their head completely, even though they're partially bald. I don't even think of them as being bald. I don't even notice it. It's when they're partially balding that you notice it. So you just gotta shave your head and grow a goatee. But I couldn't grow a goatee. I can't grow facial hair. I tried on Christmas break. I didn't shave for 2 weeks and it barely had anything. And I was like, okay, forget this. And so I'm glad that I have hair on the top of my head. I probably really insulted some people there. It was not my intent. I have no problem with bald people. Foot and mouth disease, right? Okay, here we go. Nice haircut. Nitro David. Howdy Matt, I recently became a Vault member and I'm loving it. Awesome again. Have you ever played Mage Wars? No. I find it as the combination of a living card game and a miniatures game. Sorry, I haven't played it. Barely heard of it. I think I've heard of it. That's why I say barely heard of it. Dark Paladin, hey Matt, question. How is the progress on the mini war game? I already talked about that. Okay. And blank. Iron Fist Nose-Eater. Nose-Eater? Nose Eater. Oh, Nose Eater. Iron Fist Nose Eater. It's funny when there's no spaces because of your usernames. Sometimes you parse it wrong. Hi Matt, still loving these sit and talks for when I'm painting. I'm also loving the Fate of Fayum. Great to see the campaign. I have a few questions about commission painting. I would like to do some alongside my normal work. As you have had a fair few this done, I thought it would be good to ask you guys. What do you look for out of a good painter? How do you think is best to price for the work done? There seems to be so many methods used for pricing, and probably most important, how do you best advertise? Again, there's many methods to this. Oh, also, would painting stuff, getting good photos, and then sell on eBay, etc. work? Painting stuff and selling on eBay is very tough, so I'll answer that one really quick. Starting a painting commission service, I think, is not too hard as an individual as long as you keep your expectations realistic, because there's a lot of competition out there. There's tons of them out there. What do I look for? I look for somebody who will paint it well and will be a good turnaround. And that's usually where, the turnaround is usually where individuals have a hard time. Because they get backed up, they're working another job, they get stressed out, and so they put something aside and then they get backed up. That's going to be your big thing. You need to be able to have a good turnaround. So you have to kind of handle how many clients you'll have. What is the best price? Something that makes you good money is really what it is. If you're not going to do it full time or have 10 people hired, then charge a premium price. That's really what it comes down to. Just charge a premium price. And you won't get as many customers, but it's okay because you're not looking for a lot of customers. If you're looking to do this like full time, then you're going to have to, it's a whole other thing, and I don't know enough about that. But like for us, the price isn't important because we're a business, but that's not going to be the same for everybody. And so you, as an individual, you don't want to get the people who are going to nickel and dime you. A larger company can kind of handle that and they can add those into their customer base. But for you as an individual, you just want people who will kind of just, they're like, I love your stuff, here's some money, paint me some miniatures. That's who you're looking for. And if you can get a few good clients like that, you can actually make a decent income from it. But you have to be able to paint well. You have to be able to take really good pictures. What's the best way to advertise? Look at Blue Table Painting. There's two things. Well, the one thing they do really well is their YouTube channel. They just show you stuff. Now you're going to be an individual, you won't have as much stuff to show, but it doesn't mean that you can't do that. A Facebook page is also a must in showing your stuff, and you got to build up your audiences there. Once you have the audiences, you can show off stuff, and then you say, hey, we do commission painting, and there you go. It'll take a while though to build up. You got to just remember that. Lick D9. Is there a noticeable rise in Vault memberships due to the Tyranid campaign? I already answered that. The answer is yes. It's hard to resist purchasing one when I see those, to be honest, and I'm quite disciplined. Posted the comment on this last video already, but I think it was posted way too late, so you probably didn't read. Yeah. Plips. Hey Matt, your new campaign of Necrons vs. Tyranids is awesome and has inspired my friends and I to attempt our own campaign, which also happens to be Necrons vs. Tyranids. The problem is we don't really know how to get started, and I was just wondering where you drew your inspiration for custom rules and such to suit the campaign from. That's a really good question. I've had some people have actually said, I hope that you're going to post the rules for this campaign at the end, because we'd love to try it. And the answer to that is, sure, I'll post you the PDF of the stuff that I've thrown together, but it won't really work for your campaign, because I developed this as the campaign went along to respond to what happened in the campaign. So this was not a predetermined set of things that was happening. I just had this idea. Necron Tomb World rising up, Tyranids invading. That was my idea. Very simple concept, something that could work in the lore, and then kind of let it develop on its own from there. The reason the scenarios and stuff, those were a combination of his ideas of what I wanted to do. I had the Tyranid digital editions of their extra campaigns and the Altar of War just to give ideas, so I would take some stuff out of there. And I also looked at it as an escalation kind of thing, not like escalation as in you bring in the bigger stuff, but like starting small and building up. Like it's going to end with a couple of Apocalypse games, which I'm really looking forward to, even though they're going to be tough to make. And so, I don't know, the inspiration comes from all over. Like I said, I've been a games master for quite a while, and so I'm used to kind of developing storylines and missions that go with it. I've been really lucky to have such a good player to play with, who allows us, that way if something's not so well balanced, it's okay, because I know he'll play in such a way that it'll still work. So that's the advice I can give. Just have fun with it, and it'll go from there. Reziel, hey Matt, I was hoping you might go into some details about the decision to discontinue Apocalypticon. Once again, I got cut off. This was handled on your forum, but the video gets more exposure, I think. Personally, I understand it's probably in your best interest, but could you also comment on the way you might cover Apocalypse material in the future to make up for this? Lastly, we'll be keeping Brandon for Apocalypticon alive in some fashion. I think you should. Our decision was quite simple. The event was taking too much time, making too little money, and pulling too much effort away from other things that were more important. Apocalypticon was fun, but when I first started it was just something we did with a few people, and I found that as it got bigger, it got a lot harder to really do properly. Location was hard. It's hard to find a really good location, and it's just not something that's expandable. Now I know some people might think, well, you can do it for fun and not for the money, but we're a business. We can't. There's a lot of effort that goes into it and a lot of money that goes into it, and so that could go into something else instead. Apocalypticon, the brand will continue. There's actually there's a couple of people who have contacted us and given us a really good, we even know them because they've been coming to the Apocalypticons for a few years, and they're going to continue it. I haven't announced that yet because all the details are still being put together. It won't be here in the same area, it'll be in a different area, so it'll be a new set of players, but at least the idea of the Apocalypticon will continue, because I do believe that there needs to be something that's doing it, like a store or somewhere it's hosting it. It just doesn't work for us to do it, and it's just not something that we could continue. So it's really came down to that, that it just wasn't scalable. It wasn't making money, and I know that it would be hard to turn it to be profitable. It actually didn't make money for any of the years. We were always losing money on it, and we could probably make some tweaks and make a little bit of money, but not anything near. Events are hard to do well. And so that's just what we decided to do, and we just really didn't want to because of all of that. And so it's like, okay, well, let's just not do it. We had a fun run. We did it for a few years, and so now we're stopping. Apocalypse is hard to cover in battle reports because it's so big, but we are going to be experimenting with it. The Fate of Fame campaign, like I said, we'll have a couple Apocalypse games. We actually have a narrative Apocalypse game that we're planning for the end of May. Some of the guys from Apocalypse kind of like, well, if we're not going to do that, do you mind if we come in for a narrative one and try to record that? And I said, sure. And so we're still going to try to cover Apocalypse, but it is harder to cover because it just takes so long. Necrons are awesome. Hey Matt, I have just started collecting Necrons. No way. And I've bought a Codex and Warriors. What do you suggest I buy next? If you only have a Codex and Warriors, you really can buy anything, and that would be okay. You need an Overlord to lead your army. You need more Warriors or Immortals. And then really you just go from there. Just watch our Necron battle reports. See what you like. See what looks interesting. See what playstyle you enjoy. A lot of stuff there's very few things in the Codex where it's like, no, definitely don't bother with that. It's really, really crappy. It's just, take whatever. So that's what I tell people. Metal. Hey Matt, have you heard about Bitcoin? What do you think about it? Do you think it would be a good payment option for the Vault membership? I think I've heard about it. Don't think much about it. And for that reason, don't think it'll be a good option. Because if it's not very popular, then what's the point? But I don't know, because I really don't know anything about it. Then the next person's asking about how to create a popular wargaming channel, and I've already kind of talked about that. I think I'm out of time. It's been an hour, and there's this long comment that's right here, but maybe I'll answer it from Red Hawk. I'll just quickly go through Red Hawk's comments. Any questions? Hey Matt, longtime fan here with a few questions. 1. Will you try to incorporate the expansions / data slates, whatever you call it, escalation into your normal games? Yes. 2. Without spamming, do you think that Necrons, Eldar Tower, Chaos Space Marines are overpowered? No. 3. If a player has won most of their games, does that mean that they're playing an overpowered army, or does that make them tactical? Depends on the army. Some of the armies, if they win most of their games, it's probably that they have good tactics. But it could also be contributing to the fact that the players they're up against aren't that good, or don't have very good armies. It's hard to say with 40k. 4. Are there any major problems with 6th edition? Yes, tons. If so, what would you change? Oh man, I don't even know how I would fix it. And that's okay, because since I don't play it competitively, you don't need to fix it. You just kind of play it. I think flyers are the main issue, because flying monstrous creatures I love. I think that they have a nice balance to them, because it gets rid of that whole, I can't shoot at things in the sky unless I bring something that I know beforehand is going to be able to shoot at the sky. It's like flying monstrous creatures, no problem. Got strength 3 Imperial Guardsmen, just go and make it ground, and then you charge it and attack it like you would any other monstrous creature. But flyers, sorry, can't do that. So to me, that's kind of vehicles and monstrous creatures. The way vehicles work to me has always kind of been this thing that it just doesn't work in 40k the way it should work. I think vehicles should be like monstrous creatures. They should have a set number of wounds, call them hull points if you like. They're kind of like an Infinity, that they call them structure points instead of wounds, but they work exactly the same. And that's just how they should do it. But anyways, that's a whole other subject. 5. Now off of 40k. Do you believe that an uneducated voting populace is better than people not voting? No. I think that people should vote. Everybody should vote. But that in order to vote, you need to know what you're voting for. So I wouldn't choose either of those. I personally believe that people should know who they are voting for. I agree. After the 2012 elections, I asked a few of my friends, we were only 9th graders at the time, if they regret supporting Obama, and all said yes. I think that either there should be something in place to force voters to know what they are voting for, that's impossible, or something to disallow voters from voting if and only if they are voting in blindness. Also, definitely not a good idea. Everybody should vote. Everybody should have the right to vote. Who wants to vote? Not everybody wants to vote. There's certain religions that say don't do it, and there's certain beliefs that say don't do it, and that's fine. You should have the right to vote, and you shouldn't be stopped to, and you should educate yourself at least a little on who you're voting for. 6, and just so that I can say I can stay on touchy topics, here's religion. Regarding your statement about science equals how God works, I have to disagree. When I was young, I was a practicing Lutheran. However, based on scientific studies, I have become an atheist Satanist. What? How do you become an atheistic Satanist? In brackets, no devil worship, only free will and personal thinking. I have no idea how you can be an atheistic Satanist. That's a weird, I've never heard that term. So question for you simple, how do you stay faithful? In recent years, it is hard to believe that there is a God due to the horrible parts in the world. Oh, see, that's always been something. If you actually, I have a blog where I write some religious stuff, and there's a post of, if God exists, why do bad things happen to good people? Because that's like the big question. And to me, that doesn't actually, if you read it, you'll see why, to me, that doesn't mean anything about it. Like, bad things happening, it does not prove or disprove that God exists, and they need to be. It's part of our mortal experience. It's the way that you view the purpose of life. If the purpose of life is just to be happy and not have anything bad happen to you, then yeah, God is obviously not very nice because he lets bad things happen. But that's not the purpose of life. So you can check that out. It's everydaylatterday.com, and maybe I'll put a link below. So if you want to, if you don't have to, obviously. I know the whole "he works in mysterious ways" thing is used. No, that's not even it. It's that we are meant to go through a mortal experience to learn and gain experience. And if we don't have bad things happen to us, then we can't gain that experience. That's like in a nutshell. So it's not mysterious. It's actually, no, it's like going to a gym and complaining that there's weights and that, oh, that's heavy and I gotta lift it. If you didn't have the idea in your mind that what the end goal was of the strength that you're gaining and other things that you're trying to become, then yeah, it would seem kind of cruel to force people to do that. But when you see the end result and what its purpose is, then that's different. I disagree, but I do respect your beliefs. And then suggestions. Wow, okay. 1, Death Watch. 2, bring back Dave. Haven't seen much of his 40K recently. He's been really busy with finishing the Trolls book, which he's pretty much done now, so you should see more of him soon. 3, maybe create a fast bat rep type of video, still using normal games, where all this is put in the video is cool rolls, banter, and the end of the turn, player turn recaps. So we mainly used in tournaments or voiceovers where what is interesting is movement is what's happening, not seeing them move their models. Also, I'm sure this is questioned or brought up often, but what age do you think wargamers should be? And if you think young, why the no foul language rule on the forum? I don't think adults should be involved in foul language, so that has nothing to do with age. I believe in having family-friendly, and family-friendly is not just for kids, that's for adults as well. I think it's total BS that people are like, no, that's for adults. No, the cute kids can't watch it, that's for adults, because, adult, like adult websites, they're for adults. It's like, no, it's not good for anybody. And so the whole no foul language rule is not because there could be kids. It's because I don't want foul language on the forum. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to be exposed to it. I don't want to. You go do it elsewhere. If you like to swear, that's fine. I'm not going to judge you. Just do it elsewhere. Not on my forums, or in my house, or near me, or anything like that. Or on our videos. It's nothing to do with kids. That's just, yeah, anyways. Sorry to stay such a bother, but also do you believe that intelligence in school can help measure intelligence in the real world? Intelligence in school can help measure intelligence in the real world. Is it irrelevant, slightly impacting, main factor, or only factor? Sorry for long posting. I'm not sure I understand that question. Intelligence in school can help measure intelligence in the real world. Are you trying to say that the better schools teach people, the more intelligence we'll have in the real world? Which the answer would be, of course, yes. But I don't know if that's what you're asking. So anyways, I think I'm going to leave it there. Oh, well, you know what? It's near the end of the video, so we can get into more touchy subjects here. Colonel Craig says, hey man, I respectfully disagree. You stated that there is no reason to see the violence of the D-Day landings as portrayed in the opening sequence of Saving Private Ryan. This is the way Christians recount the scourging of Christ. This reminds me of the sacrifices that our Savior made to open the gates of heaven. So should the generation of today realize the selfless sacrifices the greatest generation did to keep the world safe from the Nazis? I'm by no means comparing the World War II veterans with Christ, but there are parallels between the reliving recounting of the past to cherish the present. There are generations that have no reference for what it was like when more than half of the planet was at war, the sacrifices of those who fought, and the subsequent liberties we share today because of these sacrifices. I do believe that we should be educated on those things, but it's different than being exposed to the actual gory gruesomeness of it. And so as much as you respectfully disagree with me, I will respectfully disagree with what you're saying, because no, I don't think that that is necessary, and I don't think that it will add to their education. I do believe they should learn about the sacrifices made. I totally do. We need to remember those sacrifices. Both religion, non-religion, I'm not even talking about that, I'm just talking about in as a whole, what allowed us to form our nations, what allowed to give us our freedoms, what allowed, all these things are very important. But does that mean actually showing people graphical depictions of what happened? No, I don't think so. And on that note, I'm going to say goodbye, even though I only got through about 6 pages of comments. I do apologize to everybody else, but I do my best. It's been over an hour, so really don't have time to do more of the show because today I have to go make some more Infinity stuff. I've got to edit more of the Fate of Fae battle reports. I just did a War Machine battle report with Owen that I need to edit, and I got to get all that done today because for the rest of the week, I'm going to be making more Beta Battle reports and Dreadball and other stuff as well. So busy week, busy. So I really only do have an hour to devote to this thing. So thank you very much for your comments and questions. Of course, if you want your comments and questions answered, be quick and post them in the comments on the Mini Wargaming site. If you're on YouTube, click on the link below. If you get on the first few pages, then I will definitely answer. If you're slower than that, I know that some people are like, well, I don't get to see it until later because I'm at work or whatever it is. I'm just sorry. I don't know what to do about that. If you have suggestions, let me know. This is Matthew from Mini Wargaming. Thanks for watching, and happy wargaming.